One of our, most important values is Avat Yisrael, is loving our fellow Jew. And when we realize, especially with modern medicine, how easy it is to actually donate a kidney and the support that our, Jewish community helps the donors, we realize it's a very small price to pay when we're really literally saving somebody's life.
Welcome, everyone. This is Ordinary People with Extraordinary Stories. I'm Chana Weisberg, host of this podcast. Joining me today is a very special woman. Her name is Rachel Smoller. Rachel is a lifelong educator. She also runs a camp with her husband. She's a professional dating coach and matchmaker. And what's extraordinary about her is she has recently donated her kidney, and she's an advocate for kidney donors. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little about your story. How did this happen that you decided to donate a kidney? I mean, that's a pretty big step that someone would donate their kidney.
So first of all, I would like to clarify, it was actually 7 years ago that this story happened. It was just only recently that I gave this TED Talks about this story.
Okay.
Yes. We had a teacher in our school, a very dear friend of ours, and she shared with the staff that her kidneys were failing and that she needed to go on dialysis 3 times a week for 3.5 hours each session and then come to work a full day. And so our school community rallied around her, and Renewal stepped in and came and did a big event for us, and hundreds of people were tested.
So and Renewal is an organization, just for those who don't understand, what is Renewal exactly?
So Renewal is an amazing kidney donor advocate organization. And they really help donors make it much easier to become donors. Mm-hmm. And they came to our school and they held an event, and hundreds of people were tested, and hundreds of people were really ready to help our dear friend Sippy get a new lease on life. And I was the one that was fortunate enough to be the correct match.
Wow. Yeah. So what motivated you to do it? What motivated you to donate your kidney? I mean, it's a pretty big move to donate your kidney.
So I would like to say, as a group, Orthodox Jewish people are the largest group of people around the world that actually donate. And every day there are many, many donations through Renewal and through other organizations. So I'm very proud of what I did. There are a few other family members of in my family that also did the same thing. And there are many, many people that are donating their kidneys.
Why do you think they're doing that? Why do you think the Orthodox community is the biggest donor group?
One of our, most important values is Avat Yisrael, is loving our fellow Jew. And when we realize, especially with modern medicine, how easy it is to actually donate a kidney and the support that our, Jewish community helps the donors, we realize it's a very small price to pay when we're really literally saving somebody's life.
Yeah. Did you ever think of yourself as someone who would be doing this, or are you the type of person who hears something and right away jumps in to help?
I am, actually. That is my style.
I got that sense. Yeah. I got that feeling.
My husband has a joke with me. I always say, "What's the big deal?" And he joked about that. There was an interesting twist with my specific story, and it was regarding the OHEL, and I'd love to share that if that's okay.
Please,
because unfortunately, when I did my TED Talks with the original, goal in mind, this was actually to inspire people to donate their kidneys, but also I had my little Rebbe OHEL miracle, and so when I gave my original speech for the TED Talks, that was a very big part of my speech. unfortunately, when I gave the real TED Talks, you're not allowed to talk about religion or politics. So I had to take
Uh,
that part out.
uh,
Yeah. So
wow.
yes. So when Renewal came to San Diego to help support this donation, um, the hospital that we were dealing with really was not doing it the way that Renewal, does typical donations. Renewal, they do their thing. They come in and they open doors and make things happen. And this particular hospital was doing things very, very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no reason for it. Like Sippy was ready, I was ready. Why was there so much red tape?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we got the testing done, and then for the results, weeks and a few months,
Oh,
and this
wow.
was not okay. I kept calling, and Renewal was calling, and
And this
so
is, I mean, she's a teacher in your school. So she was going through dialysis and then 3 hours a day and coming to school and waiting
teaching,
and
yeah,
waiting and
yeah,
waiting for this. That's
yeah,
hard.
yeah.
And not knowing when it would happen.
And at this point, she didn't know that I was her donor
She didn't know
because
that. Oh, wow.
no, because Renewal has a policy of not telling the recipient who the donor is if both parties work together, and it would cause the potential of causing some tension in the workplace, some dependency. Oh, she's doing this for me, so I have to do this for her. It just makes a lot of sense. It sounds like a
Mhm.
very good policy to me
That
personally.
makes sense. Right. Right. Sure. So she knew she had a donor, but she didn't know who the donor was.
At that point, I don't even think she knew that she had a donor.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. That
yeah,
must have been so
yeah,
hard. And so you were
yeah,
keeping quiet this whole time. I mean, you must have seen what she was going through. It must have been hard for
yeah,
you to keep quiet also about knowing what was
yeah,
going on.
yeah.
Wow.
Especially with the unknown of not hearing back from the hospital if I was actually a perfect match. I knew that based on Renewal, I knew that I was a candidate, but it
Mm,
was the hospital, was all the extensive testing that really told me if I was. At that time, Sippy's son was about to become bar mitzvah, and
mm,
the rabbi in the middle school where her son was in our school at the Chabad Hebrew Academy. So the rabbi shared with Sippy that Chabad, there's a custom of boys going to the Ohel when they're about to have a bar mitzvah, and Sippy thought, you know what? I've
The
heard,
Owel is the resting place of the Lubavitcher Rebbe in
and
Queens,
then
New York.
and then although Sippy is not she's not a Chabadnik. She's one of these Sephardic diehard Israelis that has so much Jewish pride and so much love of Israel, and so she was like, this is a great opportunity for me and my husband and my son to ask for a blessing, not only for our son Ophir for his bar mitzvah, but for me for a speedy recovery.
Hmm.
And they hopped on a plane with the rabbi from our school. And it was literally an in and out because it had to be through her dialysis and
Right.
teaching.
Wow.
Um, Red eye plane, went to the OL, went to a kosher restaurant, came back. But at the OL, she calls me. And she knew when my break was. And she was at the OL when it was my break in school. And she called me and she said, Rachel, I'm feeling such emotion, such power. I've never felt like this before. And mind you, she's an Israeli. She's been in all the holy places in Israel. And she said, I just feel like my prayers are going to be answered. And she's on the phone with me for 2 minutes, I'm back and forth with her. And as I'm talking to her, my phone pings, and I look, and it's the hospital, and it tells me that I'm a perfect match for Tsippy. And
Wow.
we were waiting so long to get that answer,
Wow.
and
That's
it was just so
incredible.
emotional. Yeah, Baruch
That's
Hashem.
incredible. Wow. It's really something so special. When did you have any hesitations when you were thinking of doing this, donating your kidney? Like, were you worried about anything? Was your husband worried? You joke in the TED talk that your husband saw you hearing about renewal and said, "Oh, you're going to do it," and that's exactly what happened. Did you have any hesitations? I mean, most people would be a little worried or hesitant to donate their kidney.
I was not worried. No. I'm
Yeah.
very blessed. I don't take any credit for it. I'm very blessed. Thank God I'm not a person that really worries. But
Uh-huh.
again, I don't take any credit for it. It's my disposition.
Wow. What about the reaction of your husband? Do you have children?
Yes, thank God we have children. They were very supportive. My husband, he just tends to be a little bit more cautious than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But the hospital and the support staff, they were very open and, shared with us what the risks are, and the risks are so minimal, and the gains were just so great.
Hmm. Wow. What was Sippy's reaction after when she saw it was you? How did she find
Yeah.
out that it was actually you that donated your kidney?
So 3 days before the surgery, Sippy and I underwent the final set of tests at the hospital at the same time, but separately. And when we were both done, I waited in a room for Sippy to join me, and she joined me, and we hugged, and it
Wow.
was very emotional. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And what was the reaction after the surgery? How long does the recuperation take?
Well, for Sippy, it's significantly longer.
Hmm.
And for a donor, it's very similar to having a baby, the recuperation, except you're not waking up every night, 3 hours a night, 3 hours, 3 times a night.
Fetus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very similar, 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah,
Interesting. I mean, you're giving someone life, so it's almost like you're having a baby. You're
that's a good,
producing.
yeah,
What a
yeah.
feeling. What was the feeling like to actually see her recovered and no longer needing dialysis and now just on her way to good health?
It's very empowering. And, you mentioned like having a baby or like marrying off one of your children. It's just one of those very inspiring um, events. And I replay it. A lot of people replay when they first met their husband or under the chuppah for their children, whatever. It is a scene that I often replay in my mind.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So you recently gave a TEDx talk to San Diego, where you live. What prompted you to do the TED talk? Are you a natural speaker? Did you feel nervous about it? What made you decide that you want to go out there to the world?
So I'm not a natural speaker. I definitely was nervous. But I felt, first of all, I felt that this is a challenge, and I'm always up for a challenge. I'm very competitive. So
Well,
if there's a challenge out there, one of my children actually said to me, Ma, what's the chances? I was nominated. What's the chances of you actually getting to
how
do
how
the
were
TED
you
Talk?
how were you nominated? Like, what's the process?
So we had some guests at our house on Sukkot. One of the guests is someone that's connected with TED Talks in San Diego, and her friend is very close to us. And then the friend at the meal said something like, "Hey, Rachel, you should do a TED Talks." And
Hmm.
then the friend that's involved was like piped up, why should Rachel do a TED Talks? And then, we said this story about the Ohel and Sippy. And to me, it was the Ohel was really where the Rebbe's blessings really came out in a very revealed way. That to me was the TED Talk.
Hmm.
So
Right.
that's what so my first, interview about it, I had to make a 6 to 8 minute video. That was really what I was talking about. But one of my children said to me, Ma, what's the process? And I said, well, 600 people are nominated and 9 people will be picked. And
Wow.
my adult child said, well, why are you going to do it? You're not going to make it. And I said, well, why would I drop out just because I'm probably not going to make it? Like, let me try. So that was one reason. Another reason is if I can get people to donate a kidney, like that would be an amazing thing. After the talk, many people came over to me and, just shared with me. I came to the talk because I have a relative that is in need, and I was too scared to donate. But now I heard you, and that inspired me. So that was a very big part of me doing it. I also thought I could make a big Kiddush Hashem. The other people were not Orthodox Jews and Orthodox Jewish women, and I thought that this would be a really interesting way to make a Kiddush Hashem.
Those are really good reasons to do it. That's quite amazing. Do you think that there's everybody should be donating their kidney? Is there any person who should not be donating their kidney? Are there risks involved? Like what would you like to tell people about it?
So first of all, not everyone has the disposition. If someone is naturally a very, person that worries a lot
Mhm.
or has a lot of hesitations in life, I wouldn't think that would be the type of person that should probably do it. And
Right.
also you have to be in good health,
Mhm. Mhm.
relatively good health to
Mhm.
be able to donate. And thank God, I'm blessed with very good health.
And it's 7 years later, and you're here to tell the tale, and I guess you have nothing, no repercussions from it whatsoever health-wise.
If I could do it again, I would.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah, thank God.
Incredible. Wow, that's quite a
Yeah.
story. So I mean, tell us a little about your shluchos. You live in San Diego. You're originally from Boston. How did you get to San Diego, and what what are you doing
So,
there
so
exactly?
my husband is from Long Beach, California,
Mhm.
and California is just an amazing place to live, right? So we were very fortunate right after we got married to get shlichus in Southern California in San Diego. At that time, we received a blessing from the Lubavitcher Rebbe to come. The school was a very small school at the time. It was 38 years ago. It went up to fourth grade, and now it's just a booming school, Baruch Hashem. Um, we've had so much nachas from teaching our students, and that's actually how I got into matchmaking, because our students grew up, became religious, and now they need to get married, but their parents weren't religious and didn't know how to navigate the matchmaking system in the Orthodox world, in the Chabad world. And that's when, I was like in my mid 30s, I had to figure out how to start marrying off our students.
Oh,
And then
wow. That's
from there, people just kept calling me and calling me. And that's how so in the evenings, I do a lot of matchmaking.
Can you tell us, do you have any stories to share in terms of matchmaking, a successful match that you made?
Well, my best matchmaking story, it's a little personal, was someone called me up and I'm talking to this young man for about 45 minutes and I'm thinking, this guy is perfect for my daughter, but she's not ready yet. But when she got into the shidduch scene, I called him up
Wow. And he
and
was
I said,
still
he
how
was
much
still around, thank
how
God, and he's my
how
son-in-law, thank God.
how much after was that?
It was about almost a year later when my daughter
Almost a year.
started shidduchim. Yeah,
Wow, when she started the dating
yeah.
process.
And
Interesting.
I'm listening to him. I'm like, and I even told him, I said, I have a perfect girl for you, but she's not dating yet. So,
What made you think that he was right for her? And what is the keys when you do matchmaking that helps you to figure out who's for whom?
that couple of Baruch Hashem, two peas in a pod, they're both very artsy and very creative, and they write and they draw and they paint. So they just, artists have their own language. And my
Right.
husband and I always joke because we have no artistic, talents. And we were like, where did this child come from,
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, that was an easy one, thank God. Listen, when couples become engaged, it's really from Hashem. It's 100% from Hashem. And being a matchmaker is just being able to be the messenger and being in the right place at the right time. And Hashem puts ideas in your head. Obviously, some things just make sense and some things just literally don't make sense. But at the end of the day, it's really just being a messenger of Hashem. That's all
Hmm.
it is.
So you just try. You just keep trying.
I try my best.
You-
Yeah.
You're also a dating coach, a professional dating coach. So what kind of questions do you have from people about dating?
So I recently took a dating coach series from Dr. Ives, who I've read his books. I just love him so much. And what I'm finding the biggest help for me with this dating coach sessions that I've taken is that it just helped me really become a better matchmaker and really helps navigate the systems from going from dating to the chuppah, just giving me so many more skills.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what would you say? What advice would you give to young people who are out there dating, as far as what they should be having as goals, or what they should be doing right or wrong, that is helping them to get to their wedding canopy, or that's
So,
preventing it?
so there is so much now online, so many lectures that are so, so helpful for young people to be, listening to, and so many books. Just think about when we got married. There is
Mhm.
just so much more support. And the truth is there's so much more support that's needed, which is why
Right,
it's out there now.
right,
So I would just say be educated, tap into all of the lectures there's datewell.org that just come to mind. There's so many series.
right,
Yeah.
right. Okay. As far as your shlichus there in San Diego, what you and your husband run a school. You run a school, and you have a day camp. Can you tell us a little about your activities?
So we teach in the
You teach
school.
in the
We
school,
teach in the school. I teach second grade. My husband teaches fourth, fifth, and middle school. And
and
the school is our life. The school is
you're
literally our
you're
life.
known as Mora Rachel, the
I am. I
beloved.
know. I know.
Has your
And
life?
our school has two marachos. One is my sister-in-law, and one is me. She's kindergarten. I'm second grade.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Has your Do you feel that your life has changed in any way since you've done this kidney donation, and appeared on these TED Talks?
Not really.
Not
No.
really.
I honestly, Hannah, I've always felt very, very blessed. I have so much to be grateful for. I really, really do. And in our lives, when we count our blessings and we open our eyes really to see our blessings, it it makes the journey so much more beautiful. And I've been very, very blessed to be walking a beautiful journey with my husband. Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
we have a beautiful shlichus here. The school that we teach in, it's a very, very unique school. And when I talk about this school to other people, people are like, "Oh my goodness, I wish my child would go to a school like this." First of all, the physical, we're in the woods, and you open up the windows, big windows, and you see trees everywhere, and we have 27 acres. It's just physically a beautiful place, and the
I
staff
was
and the
actually there.
principals,
It
yeah,
really is
yeah,
gorgeous.
it
So
is. It's just a
gorgeous.
beautiful place to live. And San Diego is a beautiful city. I mean, it's so many blessings. And now in our lives, we are we're teaching our students kids. I'm
Mhm.
almost up to my students' grandkids.
Amazing. Wow.
Thank
But
God.
but you
Yeah.
still seem so young and full of
Oh,
life and vitality.
thank
It's
God. Yes, I'm
amazing.
blessed. It's one of the blessings. I really feel I
You
feel
know,
I'm very blessed.
Rachel, it strikes me like often it's when people go through something difficult in life, or a hardship, or a health crisis, or something, that they feel more inclined to help another person with their challenge, with their health challenge. And here you speak just about the blessings that you have, and yet you're still so willing and interested in helping another person. So I find that interesting. It's not the challenge that propelled you. It's just the goodness of your heart.
You're very sweet. That's very kind.
Wow.
Well, I always tell my children that in our lives, we everyone's going to have challenges. But our job as parents, as teachers, is to help kids develop very strong shock absorbers. Have you ever ridden in a Lincoln Continental? You can ride in the back seat of a Lincoln, and it is the smoothest ride. Everyone's going to have bumps in the road. But what we need to do is to help our children and ourselves develop strong shock absorbers so that when we get these bumps in the road, we're riding on a Lincoln Continental and we're able to smooth it out. I don't have a Lincoln Continental, but I did once go in the back seat of a Lincoln, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, sitting in the back seat, this is going to be such a miserable ride because we were going very far. And it was the smoothest ride. And I thought to myself, it's all about the shock absorbers in life.
So what are these shock absorbers? What are these shock absorbers that help us through life? That's a beautiful parable. What are they?
So everyone has different shock absorbers depending on the kind of people that we are. So for me, like one of my shock absorbers is, what's the big deal? Or as my students say, my second graders say, just deal with it. You know, that works for me. But we all have to know ourselves, know what our strengths and our weaknesses are, and kind of build these shock absorbers around who we really are, not who, not by somebody else's shock absorbers.
Hmm. Is there anything, Rachel, that phases you? Is there anything that
Yes.
stops your equilibrium?
Yes. And you know what it is, technology.
Oh,
Yes, I do get tense with technology, and it's something that I know I have to work through, and I work around.
So how do you do it? How do you do it?
Thank God my husband.
Okay. Is there anything else
Yeah.
though in life? Is there any challenge in life, any bigger things in life that really, tend to just make you feel not it's going to be okay?
So, I have my daily routine of waking up very early and learning Shahar Bitachon. I just started that a few months ago and saying my Tehillim and,
So
doing my
let's
Tanya and
So just to
start.
explain, for what is Shari B'tachon is a book on faith, and
Yeah.
Tanya is the book of Chassidus, the book from the first Alter Rebbe, from the first Lubavitcher Rebbe, on which is the foundational book of Hasidism. So
Yes.
how do these help you?
It
What are some teachings that you learned from here that helps to give you this equilibrium, this just such a pleasant attitude towards life?
Yeah. So there was a really cute story about belief in Hashem, and it goes like this: If you imagine you're a seminary girl, you're going to your gap year in Israel, and your mother calls you and says, "For Shabbat, can you go to my cousin Dora?" And she's expecting you. So you're like, "Oh, ma, fine, I'm going to go to Dora," but you have no idea what to expect at cousin Dora's. So you don't know if the food's going to be good. You don't know if you're going to get clean bedding. So what do? You pack some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and you put it in your backpack just in case cousin Dora's Shabbat food is like not very tasty. And you stick like your sheet and your pillowcase inside just in case you're going to get like linen that's like kind of dirty. And you stick it in your backpack and you go to cousin Dora and you have the most amazing Shabbos. And it's just a wonderful experience. And you're thinking about the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that you did not have to eat because the food was exquisite. You're thinking about your linen that you didn't need to put on the bed because you just had this beautifully fresh linen bed. And you're imagining, what if Dora would have seen in my backpack all my things? You would be a little embarrassed, right?
Sure,
But
sure.
you know what? Like Dora could understand, like, okay, she didn't expect it. She didn't know. Okay. What if Dora invited you again?
Hmm.
Would you take the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Would you take the linen? Imagine that you would. The second time, you would take the same preparations. And Dora would look and she would see and she would say, Rachel, you know that I have good food. You know that I had clean linen. What is this all about? And that's the same thing with Hashem. Hashem always takes care of our problems. But every time we have a new problem, we say, okay, Hashem took care of my problem last time, but this time it's different. No, it's not different. Every day the sun rises, the sun sets. It's all the same problems to Hashem. Hashem can take care of it all. We don't have to be caught with the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and the linen in the backpack. Hashem has our back. And just learning a little bit about, strengthening my belief in Hashem every morning, these 5 minutes of each Sefer just really puts me in a good place for that day. And then the next day I need it again.
Incredible. That's quite incredible. Um, it sounds like you live your life that way. It sounds like you really incorporate those teachings into your life. Rachel, what's ahead for you? Any big plans? Any hopes for the future? What are your thoughts?
So our son is getting married in a few days. So that's my exciting.
That's nice. And I just want to share with everyone how Rachel actually woke up at 6 a.m. to do this talk. It's 6:30 her time, just to do this talk with us because your schedule is so busy. So we really appreciate your time and
My pleasure.
yeah. Can you share with us any parting thoughts, any parting wisdom that you'd like
So
people to know, either about kidney donor donations or about anything in life?
yeah. So what I tell whenever I speak with my children, at the end of the phone conversation, I always say the same thing that I told them when we would be driving to school and then we would go to school. And, and it's just be kind and try your best.
Wow.
So now as a joke, I'm talking to my 35-year-old daughter, 33-year-old son, just be kind and try your best.
Hmm.
That's all we can do. 1 foot forward, 1 foot forward. Life is full of baby steps.
It's a great motto. It's all you need to remember. Be kind and do your
Yeah.
best. What a great motto. So succinct and so true. Rachel, thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you for saving Tzippi's life, really, donating your kidney. Thank you for teaching us about kidney donations and wishing you tremendous success in your future, everything that you do in the future, all your future endeavors. And be kind and do your best.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.
What a special person this Rachel Smoller is. She just has this way about her of just being so natural in doing the right thing and doing it with such simplicity, no airs about her. I found when I read the story originally about her donating her kidney, I said, this is a person who I really would like to speak to understand why she did it. And yet when she speaks about it, she does it with such simplicity. It almost makes it so obvious that this is the right way of doing things. I also found her parable of the way that we look at God and how we just give over to God and realize that God is with us. He's helping us, and there's no reason to be worried about him taking care of us and continuing to take care of us. And you could see that that is a message that pervades her daily living in a very basic, simple way without any airs about her. This is just who she is. I love her message that's so succinct and so short that we can always take with us in all our daily lives. Be kind and do your best. I mean, imagine if the world would live by that motto. Imagine if we would all live by that motto of just trying to take those baby steps of be kind and doing our best. If you enjoy watching these videos and these interviews, please make sure that you are subscribed to Chabad.org/extraordinary. You will be getting them in your inbox weekly. As well, we are on Spotify and Apple and on all podcast platforms. Please make sure that you are subscribed there, like us. It really helps us. And of course, we love your messages. I've been reading some of the messages that I've just got this past week about different ways that our interviews have impacted your life and how you've gotten a certain strength and wisdom from some of the interviews. And that really makes my day. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching, and thank you for communicating with us. And please share us with your friends. Let them know about our podcast so that more people could actually be inspired by this. Thank you for joining.